Hey guys, Coach Brooks with Explosive Sports. Hey, I talked about this whole ACL epidemic that's going on. Right? If you haven't seen the first video, make sure you get back to see the introduction of what this whole thing's about. But we're trying to get across how important it is for your movement. Now, a lot of people blow this off in the strength and conditioning field. A lot of people, sports coaches, people in general, blow this off. But the more I've studied, okay, and I've been in this for 20 years, the more I see where we have to have a need and how we're supposed to move. And I talked about a little bit in the first video. Movement is so important. We got to remember where we move from, okay? And that's, you got to look at the babies. How did they move? The babies move a certain way. Babies who don't move a certain way tend to have issues, okay? But the majority of babies move correctly. Then you look at the indigenous tribes of the world, okay? The ones that live in the Amazon, the ones that aren't infected by our modern society of the sedentary lifestyle, the sitting so much, all that kind of stuff. How come they aren't all of a sudden jumping up, hey, I need total this? And you'll say, well, how do you know they don't need that? Well, because most of them hunt till late in their life because that's how they have to get their food. All right, they're not blessed with going to a grocery store to get food here, anytime we want, or a fast food joint, whatever. They have to go hunt their food, so they got to do it late into their life because that's part of the culture that it is. So if you look at how we move, it's very, very imperative that we actually do a better job. And for the most part, you're going to see most people stand like this. So we're going to get in a little bit closer. Most people stand here. They're flat. As you've seen over the last couple of years, at least I have, more and more kids say, hey, my feet are flat. Well, why are they flat? Most kids, if you watch babies when they're born, they all have a nice arch here. All have a nice arch. Some higher than others. Granted, everybody's a little different. But everybody has a good arch, okay? An arch right in here. All right, they can call. That's almost like your shock absorber, okay? All right, but that's not really supposed to be pressed down so much. But we have destroyed it because that's how we stand. All right, flat feet, all this kind of stuff. So if I'm standing like this, where do you think the pressure is going? In here? Right up into the chain here, okay? If you see, the ACL shred is typically this motion. Now, yeah, you can come back on it, no question about it. But a lot of times you see a guy cut and he goes to make this move. Inside ankle bone goes low, his knee goes in, right like that, okay? So, how do most people walk? This is how they walk. And I'm going to have a hard time because I haven't walked like this for about 2-3 years when I used to have all kind of pain. But they walk like this, okay? The knees are in, all right? The feet are flat, okay? That's how they walk. So they're constantly putting stress on the joint. Now, think about this. Say I say, hey, throw a ball to me, and I throw a ball, and mechanics are really bad. My one time I throw it, most likely I'm not going to hurt myself. Even probably 10, maybe even 100 times I'm not going to hurt myself. But eventually something's going to start to give. Why? Because my body's being used incorrectly. Same thing if I continue to walk incorrectly, okay, and I constantly put stress up into my joints, eventually it's going to start to hurt. So just because your kid's walking wrong now at age 7, 8, 9, or some of your athletes on your team that you're coaching are walking incorrectly or moving wrong, and I don't have any pain, what about when they hit 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22? They start to get up there. Isn't our job as parents, as coaches, to make sure that these kids don't have these injuries? And not only that, but actually live productive lives, that they're not always having to go in to get cut, to get a total knee, total hip, and all this other kind of stuff? That should be our goal. All right, yes, performance is important, but we need to make sure we take care of the body. If we take care of the body, body's going to last us a nice long time. So if I constantly walk like this, over time, I'm damaging it, okay? So how should I walk? You should be on the outside edge of the foot, okay? So if you look, this is the part of the foot that I should be on, the outside here, okay? So I should be up, my toes, typically like a second toe straight. So almost a pigeon toe. If we remember back, I remember watching kids when I was young, man, some of these people had these, they were pigeon-toed, slightly pigeon-toed. Man, they were fast as all hell. And I didn't even know why. Now looking at them, like, wow, it's like an Ed Reed type thing, right? Ed Reed was slightly pigeon-toed if you looked at it. And really, Ed Reed, if you go back and look, now he played, 15 years in the NFL, high level, never really had a major injury. But if you look, slightly pigeon-toed, he was always like this. All right, his inside ankle bone was always up nice and high, had a nice good arch. So when he walked, he was always here, okay? So he didn't crush it in like this. He was actually here and moved. So if you watch me from the back here, see, he was always up. So when he ran, his heel would go away, boom, he was here, okay, the outside edge of his foot. Key, all right? Why? Because you're keeping that shock absorber and you're keeping your movement pattern correctly, and you're running it up the outside here where there's good support. And that's what we have to understand with all this stuff. So if you have athletes that are struggling, or hey, I just want my athletes to get checked to see so we can rectify it quickly, then do it. Listen, it took me about 2 years to feel better. I was in some severe pain. I lifted heavy. Hell, I could lift, deadlift about 700 pounds, squat like 600, all those things. But guess what? Everybody told me, the stronger you get, the better you're going to feel. That's not true. Dude, I was beat up, okay? But over time, redeveloping how I move, how I do all that kind of stuff, studying the human movement, taking courses, taking a certification on it, understanding it, guess what? I've gotten myself out of pain. I don't have pain. Hell, now I can shovel 8 hours a day in the dirt doing different things because I like to do that kind of stuff as my workout. Guess what? I used to have back pain. My hips would hurt the next day. I'd be in severe. Nothing. Doesn't bother me anymore. Didn't take any drugs. Don't take any of that kind of crap. All I do is change my movement patterns. And guess what? Feel great. How many other people have I helped with this kind of movement pattern? Tons. People say all the time, man, I feel so much different. So if you have an athlete or you have a son or daughter and you want to know what they should be doing, hey, is my son or daughter moving correctly? Get them in here for an assessment. We can easily do it, check it out, watch their run, watch their jump, all that kind of stuff, and you'll see it. But movement, standing is key. Feet should be straight. They shouldn't be like this, okay? And we should be out here on the outside edge of our feet as we walk, okay? Shouldn't be internally down, all right, like most athletes do. So contact us, guys. Let us help you guys out. But there's a key tip of getting on the outside and feeling that here, okay, instead of here. And you watch the difference it's going to make. It's not going to happen overnight, especially the older you are, the more broken down your patterns are. But if we can get this early enough and make sure the kids don't get into this pattern, imagine what we could do in the future where they don't have to go for these knee injury or have these knee injuries or get all these total knee replacements, hip replacements, all this other kind of stuff. All right? Have yourself a great day, guys. God bless and take care.